And we're live. Cat Crew's Catterday? Oh, I should have said Catterday, huh?
At
Dang it.
Catterday, Cat Crew. I'm still trying to refresh X and see whether or not it comes up or not. Ah, there you are. This is beautiful, man. I love it. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
so let's get the audience. Tell them we're not on Spaces, but we're live on video today.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Not on Spaces, but we'll be doing a live stream here on this channel. And this is also live on YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, also live on YouTube.
Awesome.
And I'll put some timestamps on later too, in case people miss it. So I'll post that later as well.
Good morning,
awesome. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Yeah, I'm gonna repost this. Hopefully, people are able to see it. But yeah, usually these like live things they pop up just like Spaces, so I think they should be fine. And right now we're getting 18 views.
All right. It is early morning. It's not even a little bit past 6 in California. Yeah.
Yeah. So hi everybody. I think so far we've got Triker, we got Matt, got Danny, got Jess, got the Red Fox here. Is that right? Is that everybody so far?
Yeah, that's everybody so far.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Hey, so I think Danny wanted to go for this special episode because I think he's excited to share with you guys some very important monthly charts, as well as going through some important new indicators that he would like to share with us. So yeah, if you guys want to take it away, I think you guys want to start with the monthly Palantir chart from Danny. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll start with that one. I'll pull it up right here. Danny, take it away.
So, yeah, Kat and Matt, I need your helping hand, Sometimes
you got it.
Explaining how this new indicator, black hole, works out. But anyway, how many black holes can you find on my monthly chart?
3.
Okay, exactly. Okay, so the first one, second one, and the third one. And what do you think? So before I elaborate, what do you think about these black holes?
That maybe a trend change or volatility or something like that.
Yeah, it's a warning sign for something, but we don't know what.
It's not necessarily bearish or bullish. It's just there's something that's interesting going to happen.
Exactly. I like that. Because usually when people come across the black holes, they might think that is a bearish signal. It can be, of course. And at the same time, it can be a bullish signal, just depending on how you interpret it. So first of all, this is called black hole. And first of all, it means volatility. So we should be psychologically prepared for the big changes, the big swings in price. And second, the black hole will give us some directions on whether it's going to be the continuation of the uptrend or the continuation of the downtrend, or there might be a trend reversal, depending on how you interpret this indicator. Now, so let's go back to the monthly chart, the first dark hole. So actually, the black hole or dark hole, whatever, okay, comprises 3 different nines. So the upper nine, the middle nine, and also the lower nine. Okay, so all these lines are quite important. The upper nine actually acts as the resistance level. And the middle nine is something like in between the support and resistance level. And the last one, the lower nine, and this refers to the support level. Okay, so once we find this black hole, and if you find the subsequent candle, for example, okay, to be more exact, so the black hole is made up of 5 candles inside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you find that the 6th candle closes above the upper 9, it means that there will be an uptrend, or there might be the continuation of the uptrend. All right, so And if you find the sixth candle or the subsequent candles closing below the lower nine, it means the downtrend.
So this one right here, this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This candle right here, it didn't really close below though, right?
I
Yes,
think you meant with the 5 candles within the black hole itself.
within the
right?
black hole. Yes,
Oh, within the black hole. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so
I
the
understand.
black hole encircles 5 total candles, and then the candle right after that kind of tell you which direction it will go.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4,
3, 4,
5. And this sixth candle right here.
candle.
Okay.
Okay, so you will find that actually the 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th, or 10th, okay, all these candles failed to close above the upper 9. So that means Palantir was going to start the downtrend at that time.
Yeah, that was unnecessary. But anyway, yeah. So, but that's even though the candle, the 6th candle, like the one right after the black hole, didn't really it didn't really exceed the levels that you have, but it was looking more like it was pointing down, right? That's what you're referring to.
Okay, so actually, once you find the candle closing below the lower level, probably you have to take profits or take loss.
Okay, and it didn't happen in this particular case until 5 months later, right? Or
Yes,
6 months later.
Exactly, because probably Aplanti was spending 5 months on moving sideways.
Well, this wick did go below the last one, but it didn't close it below. So I guess it got invalidated. So no trend change really until later.
Yes, until later.
You know what's really interesting? These black holes look very much like the triangles that I draw all the time when I see a converging trend. And Jess just put a picture. I can't remember what the name of the person is that had this theory, but you had it was a picture of when you have was it price? You've got price corrections over time versus price corrections within bullish moves. What was that called, Jess? The person?
I can't see the charts up, unfortunately. But
oh, okay. I'll see if I can find it in the chat history last night. But yeah, Danny's black holes look a lot like the converging triangle trend lines.
So probably there's a conference between your signal and my indicator.
Exactly, confluence.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense whenever you have consolidation, which in Tracker's case, you're going to see your triangle, and then in Danny's case, you're going to see a black hole. And then it depends on what the subsequent price action, what it does. It really dictates like a bigger move next after that. It makes sense.
Yep.
Danny, you want to keep going? So we talked about.
Okay, so now let's move on to the second black hole. So here, I think you understand why this black hole is important, because it tells you that the downtrend is going to be over. Okay, however, we are not sure, because within the 5 monthly candles inside the black hole, they didn't close above the upper 9 of the black hole until the 6th candle. Am I correct? So let's try to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, the 6th candle was a red candle. And sometimes the red candle may not work out 100%. There might be occasions in which the red candle doesn't work out on my chart. Yeah, so that's why we've got double confirmations. For example, we have the black hole telling us that the price is going to be volatile. And second, based on this signal, we know that there might be the possibility of the trend reversal from the downtrend to the uptrend. And the red candle came at the perfect timing, the second reliable indicator. So here we've got double confirmations, because sometimes when you see the red candle, how sure am I about the accuracy? So here we are very sure about this accuracy because of, first of all, the black hole, second, the red candle for confirmation. And as you can see, the red candle actually closed above the upper 9 of the black hole. And that's a very, very, very positive signal to us that Palantir was having a trend reversal from being bearish to bullish.
But a lot of people were waiting to buy back around $8, right? I mean, that was kind of what happened after that.
So who was buying Palantir at that price?
And then you have the head and shoulder pattern that happened right after
Yes.
that. And everybody was talking about this going to go back all the way down to like $5, and all kinds of gaps underneath that has to fill, right? You remember that, Danny?
Okay, and let's take a look at the last black hole. Okay, so the last black hole actually appeared along with the red ribbon. Okay, so here, that might be the first warning telling us that Palantir was going to be very volatile. However, okay, it didn't tell us that there was an uptrend or downtrend until the 6th candle. So how do you count the 6th candle? Because the black hole comprises 5 candles inside, okay? And the 6th candle is very important, it's very critical. And it almost touched, the upper nine of the black hole. Okay, and when you see the subsequent candle, it closes above the upper nine, and we are 100% sure about this uptrend. So in this case, it means the continuation of the bullish trend. It was not the top P signal, because sometimes it can be the top P signal when you see the yellow candle at the same time, or when you see the subsequent candle closing below the lower nine of the black hole. So that's why we need to learn how to interpret all these signals accurately, so that we can ride with the trend. We can hold this stock with much confidence.
Just to kind of clarify, when you see a black hole, again, it just signifies volatility is coming.
Volatility at the very beginning, and second, there's a trend reversal.
It could be trend reversal, but in this particular case,
that would be the continuation.
Trend continuation. Right. So
and the continuation of the bullish trend is not merely continuation. It means continuation of the bullish trend in terms of volatility.
Got it. So that basically, because you already have the candle right after the black hole that closed above the black hole, most likely there's going to be some pretty powerful trend continuation for Palantir to the upside.
Exactly.
Yep.
So next time when you see the black hole, first of all, it doesn't tell you anything positive or negative. It just prepares us psychologically for the big volatility, which is forthcoming. And when the 6th candle closes above the upper nine of the black hole, very bullish. Okay, and closing below the lower nine of the black hole, oh my God, the downtrend is coming. It's just simple. It's just easy, because we need this indicator to tell us the price changes.
Yeah, so good things looks like is to come for Palantir, and based on looking at the fact that volatility is happening and it already is starting to play out, right? So the red ribbon is very, very thick. You also got like your panel 2 that looks like a big giant red candle. There's like the purple trend line is still pointing up. And then you want to talk about the other panels that you have here, just real quick.
Yes. So let me keep going with the monthly chart of Palantir, because I think it's one of the hottest stocks that people are very interested in. And also you will find that in panel 1, actually Palantir has hit above all those resistance lines, indicated by the blue horizontal bars in panel 1. Almost. Okay. Yeah. So all the resistance have been overcome in my monthly chart.
What about the last? Yeah. What about the last one?
I think the last one should be 35, as far as I remember, 35.2 to 35.4.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think, and I also watched Matt's video about Palantir, and I think actually my prediction or my calculation aligns with his, because based on the Fibonacci level, then the next resistance level should be 36.5, as far as I remember, and then 40. So probably there might be the possibility of Palantir moving back and forth in this level, 36 to 40, or it could be 36 to 33. So it depends. Okay, so once again, we just wait for the black hole on the daily chart and see whether such indicator is going to tell us something important about the changes in price.
Yeah, and I can also see that it's not just the black hole too, but you also have a lot of confirmation from all the other indicators that you have here. For example, I can totally see Garcia on like panel 3. He's like totally the whale accumulating. So
yes. Where's he?
Yeah, there's like no more retail, right? Is that 0%?
No more retail.
0%.
It just squeezed right out.
Yeah.
I've got a quick question for Danny.
Yes.
Your black hole indicator, is that automatic? Do you have a setup for that, or is that
I have to set it up.
It's proprietary. He cannot know.
Yes. Yeah.
No, what I mean is like, is it a calculated indicator, or do you identify it?
So what I usually do is that when I see the black hole, I need to do the calculations by myself.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So first of all, I have to do the calculation by myself, and second, I have to compare against the volume shelf on the right hand side of the chart. So there's a volume shelf. So that's why I need to see whether there's a confluence of all these figures.
Oh, that makes sense. The volume shelf tells the story about where
exactly. So sometimes people don't understand much about the volume shelf, and actually the volume shelf itself is very important in determining the price actions.
Yeah. In fact, there's a whole section of TA just off of volume shelves alone.
Yeah. So see, people don't understand that we put in so much effort in doing our TA.
So Danny, how do you calculate it? Can I ask, or is that kind of your secret sauce?
Okay, so actually on the left hand side, actually there are numbers on my screen, so I can just cross check this upper 9, middle 9, and the lower 9, and I just do the measurements automatically. Okay, now on this chart, you can't find all these numbers on your left hand side. Okay, but on my chart I can.
Well, you can see on the chart we can see on the screen right now. You can see the volume shelves coming off the left hand side, and then the longest volume shelf horizontal candle has a number next to it. It's like that 22.679 is the center of his black hole. Yeah. The last black hole.
Exactly. Okay. Very good observation, Steve.
Yeah, it does seem like it's a very important pivot point because of the big volume shelf. It does seem like that's the case. But I guess the whole point is that Danny has a lot of impersonators, and a lot of people are trying to kind of copy his stuff, but they don't
the black hole cannot be copied, and also the chip system, which helps me to do the calculations about the support, resistance, and price levels for reversal, cannot be duplicated, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean there are a lot of people trying to set up some very similar system as Danny, but they just don't have the same level of interpretation. They also don't have these extra indicators that they can use. I think that's the whole point, to kind of show that, as well as to show that there's a lot of additional confirmation that Palantir is probably going to go up higher.
And I don't think anybody out there works as hard as Danny either. Working I don't know, 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Making chart after chart after chart, and then
Steve knows me well because he's on my Patreon.
He's
on Patreon me all day.
Let's not make Danny have more Patreon subscribers, because he's already busy enough. So anyway, you guys want to move on to the next chart?
Actually, can I just show you one quick
we can find some more interesting elaborations?
Yeah. Anything else that you want to talk about?
Tracker wanted to show something or no?
I think so much for Palantir, and everybody's very happy, super happy.
I've got this great chart that Jess shared last night in our Cat Spaces crew, our private chat amongst ourselves last night. I think it's really interesting and salient at this point in the discussion. So if Matt could bring me to the forefront. Perfect.
There you go.
All right. So right here, this is the chart. It's by a guy named Brian Shannon. That's the attribution that Jess gave to us last night. And he observes that basically when you have a bullish trend, you'll see two types of corrections. Either you'll see a price correction, happened during a bullish run, like these red arrows are the price corrections. But then sometimes you'll see price action just go sideways for a while, and he identifies these as time corrections. And so you could say, for example, because I'm the Tesla tracker, I'll tell you that Tesla went through a number of these time corrections. In fact, the last one that we've been in has taken 2.5 years since that 414 high, the 101 low, the 299.29 high, and the recent 138.80 low. We've been sideways in a time correction. But we're about to get the next major, price correction move up, the big move up. And here is here's Palantir, also on a monthly chart. And you can see what I've done is I identified just with my eye that this looks like a time correction. Then you get a price correction with a time correction. And then here's another little mini price correction as a time correction. And then the recent, like the last 4 months of breakout move. Now, just because I'm interested, I didn't look at this I haven't looked at this in advance. I'm going to pull up my, where is it? Volume, visible, here it is. No, that's if you went to the points. Here it is, visible range volume profile. I want to see it on the monthly chart. That's calculating, I think. Oh, there it was. Here we go. So yeah, and then see how this triangle area has this longest volume shelf right here. And then it looks like there's a set right here for this time correction, then a big move up, and then, I could easily just say this is the next time correction that happened. But it seems like it had a longer, oh yeah, because look, there's this wick all the way down here. So here's my 1, 2, 3, 4, actually kind of went 4, then 5, and it touched the bottom right here when it dropped to 2105 on August 5th, and then absolutely launched up out of that now. And so you can see there's very little volume up here. Yeah. At some point, and something I could probably do with, I promised I wasn't going to take much time here. But if I did a quick Fibonacci extension, I'm going to take this 592 low. Let's do this one.
Make it as high as possible, Steve.
Look, it's coming up at 76.4% extension at 3683. I think that's got confluence with everything Matt's been talking about on his chart.
Yeah.
So this should bounce off the. Let's see. So here's the wave 3 start. That would be olive wave 1 sub 3, olive wave 2 sub 3, 3, 4, 5 sub 3. So this is 5 sub 3. This is olive wave 4 and olive wave 5. So this whole cycle should top out for Palantir at 71.73, have a ABC 61.8% retrace, and then start building up again. So look for maybe a price correction down to 28.57, and then runs up to 138. I'm sorry, to 132, 50.15, and then have a time correction, perhaps over this period of time. Something like this. Actually, this would probably be sharp, and that would form your time correction. Anyway, this is exactly the kind of thing that Danny's tracking with his black hole signal, and these are my triangles that I look at all the time.
Yeah, very similar concept. I think it's all about consolidation, and also the volume shelf builds up whenever you have consolidation too, right? So that tells you that a lot of energy is being built up. But anyway, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, this is really cool with the volume shelf. Anyway, so that's it. That's all I wanted to share.
Yeah. Thanks, Tracker. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's actually really cool, Tracker, because I can actually now visualize them on your chart. When I first looked at Brian's chart, I couldn't really figure out what was going on, but now that you've pasted up with the candles and all the fibs and the volume shelves, it actually is quite easy to see that price versus time correction.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like whenever you look at a bunch of indicators, there's a lot of confluence between everything that we look at, which is really cool. Like, that's the part of the reason why we do the Tuesday night chats, you know. But anyway, let's get back to I think before we talk about the next chart that Danny has, I want to give Garcia a little bit of a thought here, because we're talking about how, you know, there's some escape velocity for Palantir. We're at a pretty good spot at support, and we also have the S&P 500 inclusion. And you know, I just kind of wanted you to kind of weigh in what do you think is probably going to happen moving forward from the fundamental side. Garcia, are you there?
I think he said he's backstage.
Oh, he's backstage.
That just means that Matt's got to bring him to the forefront.
Yeah, Matt, you gonna let him in?
His audio's sticking through.
No, he's able to speak. I put him able to speak, but he has like 3 different. I don't even know what's going on. He's like dropping and coming back on and dropping and coming back on. So maybe his connection. I'm not sure.
All right, never mind then. We're gonna move on then. You want to do Danny's Tesla chart?
Before we go on, just one sec, Kat. Did we talk about the gap that needs to be, or
what gap
could be filled on Palantir?
The weekly gap below that you're talking about? Yeah.
I think it was like $31 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, weekly gaps more likely to be closed than daily gaps. You know, obviously, a lot of people are eyeing that, but there's some weekly gaps I think from Tesla that's never really been filled, right? So, is that right, Matt? Let me check here. I mean, I don't really care about gap fills, to be honest with you. Like,
I think Palantir doesn't really have any weekly gaps, really.
Does it not? Yeah,
just like one.
No, it's the gap from the inclusion. There's a big when we spiked up.
There's a gap
below us.
Yeah,
there's a gap from the weekly. Yeah, I'm trying to. If you really want to talk about gap fills, like not all gaps have to fill. Majority of them do, but not all of them has to. There's a gap from IWM back in like over a decade ago on the monthly that still hasn't been filled. On Tesla, there's a gap around like I think $2.47 that still hasn't been filled. Like I don't really care, you know, if from the technical standpoint, if it has an escape velocity, if it really is ticking off, and if the fundamental supports it, not all gap has to fill. Right? There's also another gap for Tesla down at right around $56 that still hasn't been filled yet either. So that's why a lot of people are calling like $60, right? Like, and there's also another gap around $80 for Tesla that hasn't been filled on the weekly. So do I think that the Palantir gap has to fill? No. Based on trackers, Elliott waves, there's a possibility, but do I think that it has to absolutely go back down there for the wave impulse to make that happen? I do not think so.
Oh, I think Garcia's back now. He came back. Can you hear us now, Garcia?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you were like losing connection or something, or what?
Yeah, my phone was kind of bugging out. I had to restart it.
Oh,
okay.
Well,
yeah. Kat had a question for you.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear you. You know, now we're kind of showing how bullish the Palantir chart looks. You know, in conjunction with S&P 500 inclusion. You know, there are also other S&P 500 inclusions that didn't really work out quite just yet. So, kind of wanted you to kind of weigh in terms of what's happening with Palantir, whether or not it fits what we're seeing in the charts as well. So,
I'm not sure if you guys talked about anything while I was kind of messing with the phone, but
we're bullish.
Like I think so. Like I think in the short term, I think this has a lot of. I think it's gonna have a lot of room to run, but I think I honestly don't know at this point. It's we closed at what is it, the weekly chart is at its highest it's ever been, so it's almost like there's the ceiling is gone at this point. So we're I've read about it being called like price discovery mode. We're kind of in this new range, or we're in this new zone. So I at this point I can't even give any price targets or any idea of like, okay, where we could be. maybe the 30s, bounce between 30 and 40, but it's just absolutely incredible, man. Like I look at other massive companies, since IPO, since they started, and looking at how much room Palantir has to grow and run. It's like it's so early on in its story.
What do you think about is there any particular point that you're gonna end up starting to take profit or anything like that? I know you're pretty much, for those people who don't know, Garcia is pretty much all in.
I think so. I think so. I think once they start growing into their multiples, or they start becoming in a, like, I guess more of a, they start losing that growth stock, that potential, like they've taken the whole market. The customer count growth, the revenue growth is starting to slow down in the long term, like not just 1 or 2 quarters, but we're talking about a year, or a much longer trend of, like, okay, this is pretty much what they're going to grow into. And if we see kind of management leave and other management come in that doesn't have the same vision, then I think that would be around the time that I would start really diversifying, like, from Palantir.
I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a very long time from now.
I think so.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know when any of that's going to happen, right? Because Carp's been in this company for how many decades, and they've created this child, and now it's a teenager, and there's just so much going on with this company, with military and civilian contracts. Who knows when that will happen? Hey, Garcia?
No, and nobody knows, and I've never gone through something like this to hold on to a company for this. I've never held a share of a company for as long as I have,
Yeah,
for as long as I have Palantir.
And people are saying, well, I mean, I've heard some people that I respect say it could be, a huge, this type of Microsoft type company in the early days, or Apple in the early days.
Yeah, because who's to say, like they won't have. Yeah, because who's to say Palantir won't have, like, a consumer product in the future?
Yeah, exactly.
Like right now, everyone's saying, "Oh, well, they're B2B only. They have a limited TAM," but we don't know what they could potentially come up with in the future. Like, maybe they come up with a product that allows consumers to see their health records, their budgeting, their planning, their finances. Who knows? Like, the possibilities are endless. But as long as the growth story with the defense and commercial keeps growing, and that, I mean, I'm just gonna keep holding on.
I think I see the way I like to think about it, Seth and Garcia, is like, it's almost like Facebook. You first started, it was like a cool thing. It started at Harvard. Everybody came in from the outside looking in, like, oh, that's pretty cool, and you only had like 1,000 members. And then next thing you know, they start expanding, and it just became like this crazy thing, So I still see that it's still relatively, in more or less, in like a little bit of a exclusivity kind of thing. People just finding about it is cool. And it's ticking off like that. So there might be some pretty long runway. I think at some point the price is going to end up pricing in a lot of years of growth, and it's just going to be like have to go sideways for another few years before we go up again. But I'm just not sure where that point would be if it's happening anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly. And as long term, as as traders, it's definitely important to be following the TA to know, like, okay, when are you getting in, when are you getting out. But as long-term shareholders, it's really, it's not our job to know exactly when certain things will happen. We just continue holding until the day a contract gets announced, or Nancy Pelosi buys, and then there's going to be a massive run in the stocks.
Nice.
Or Elon buys.
Yeah, like, can you imagine? Or a massive contract between, like, Tesla and Palantir, or a public, SpaceX and Palantir.
It kind of depends on your version of, or your theory or your opinion of AI in general as a whole. If you think that AI is really in its first inning, because if you look at what's going to happen in the next 50 years, AI is really going to just encompass the whole world, and it's going to transform. And, these companies are really, in their infancy. But that's what I think.
I mean, no, I think the monthly black holes are agreeing with us. While we're talking about like the technicals, especially since like Tricolors are sort of start, Matt, do you have anything to say to add to Palantir's technicals? What are your thoughts?
Everything is in the video basically that I put up yesterday. That I think the 786 Fibonacci level is 36.6 or something around there, and that's probably going to be maybe a rejection for the first time because that's typically the norm, right? It's typically the norm on any kind of retrace that it gets rejected around that level. So I kind of think it could go there, probably wick above, maybe enticing more people to buy, just maybe just to drop it later on. But I think it could just be in that range and maybe go back down to 33 and then maybe stay in that range. But I don't think it's going to go below 30 at this point, just simply because.
What was your fib, Matt? 38?
36.
36.
Yeah, I can. I guess I have the computer here. I can pull them.
You don't even get questions.
So yeah, not this one. Let's go to here. No, that's Tesla. Sorry, getting ahead of myself here.
He's just trying to sip his coffee and enjoy the conversation. I'm calling him out.
Yeah, wasn't even ready for this at all. But let me just get this out. No, you're fine.
Are we still?
Let me get this out. So when you just look at it like this, you can see that from the all-time high to the all-time low, it's in this new range. It looks like the 33.68 to the 36.64. And usually that's where things get rejected for the first time, right? And since the 618 held perfectly, the 30.08, that's why price really went up. So I can really see maybe next week price continuing, maybe even wick above, but then I can see price maybe closing below and then maybe going back down to retest at 33.6. So I can see 37 before 33, but I still think it's going to come back down and at least retest that 7.1 or 7.02 zone. And I think that will be the target. I don't think that the whales will let it go back down to this level, though. I mean, it is a possibility because everybody's like, oh, if it goes back down here, I'll buy. That's the classic retail, right? So not sure if they're going to allow that, but I do see 36 down to 33 currently at the moment, right? So that's the range I see it in. I don't really see...
That would depend on, like, if the Feds cut 50 points or 75 points and then the markets don't like that, and then everything just corrects.
Yeah, and we're at a pivotal moment too, because like all the indices are still not making higher highs, right? They're still just stuck at resist, especially the SPY. It's basically at the all-time high, so that's like the Feds could do anything next week, and it could just have a lot of volatility to the downside before it continues up too. So. And all the other indices, like the QQQ, it's still making lower highs from the all-time high, and so is IWM. It's making lower highs. So it's kind of set up.
I'm sorry, SPX left a big price gap down below still.
Yeah, so it's kind of set up like right now. It's people bought the news or like the rumor and might sell the news initially just to fake out markets again, and then possibly continue higher after that. So that's what I'm thinking. I think the moves we've been seeing this week, the recovery we've been seeing is pricing in the rate cut. And then because it's not breaking out into all-time highs and most things are at resistance, including Palantir, that means there's room to go back down to test levels to freak markets out before things continue higher.
So retail has a chance to enter 27, 28, right?
No, but they'll have that in their mind, like, oh, it goes back to 33, it'll go below 30, and then they'll wait. But then the classic retail, then it goes below 30, like, it's going to go to 25. I'm not going to buy this.
Matt, if I may, here's the flip side of that. I mean, if everyone thinks it's not going to go to 30 and they buy at that, then all the other people are putting their stop losses under 30. And so maybe they'll raid those stop losses and it'll go to like 20, 29, 28. Just to get the stop losses, and then run wick down to it, and then do it right back up again.
I know. Can you imagine how many stop losses got triggered on August 5th?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that already happened though, right? Like they already tried, and that's what actually makes me feel more bullish about what's happening moving forward because they already did that. But it's still possible. They might do it again. But I just, yeah, I would like to talk a little bit more about like seasonality, things like that, maybe with Jess later. But anyway, yeah, I think they already did that.
Well,
Yeah, I think it already did that too, right here too.
Last point of confluence with Matt is that he's got his 786 at $36.64, and I've got this wave one I just drew this morning at $36.82, and then it would pull back to $28.57 from there before making the heart of the third wave up to the $50 level.
Yeah, but either way, whatever happens, retail won't be buying, and that's how I strongly feel because even if it goes down,
buy and buy when it's supposed to sell.
Yeah, if it goes down to 33, they're like, it's going to go lower. If it goes to 30, it's going to go lower. They're just not going to buy. So no matter what, it's gonna be bullish for Palantir, and it's going to be bullish for all stocks too. So I just think whatever volatility we see next week with rate cuts or not, just it doesn't matter because things are at resistance now. So yes, they can tank the markets early in the week and then finish out strong as well too. So it's been the pattern recently. So the trend is your friend.
Yeah, I actually like how they're kind of putting the whole rate cut thing as a bearish narrative, like a recession thing. I actually like that.
Yeah.
but yeah, anyway, we can move on to the Tesla chart. I'm sure Trekker would like to say something about it too. But I would like Danny, you still awake?
Oh yes,
Danny?
I am.
Yes,
I am.
I know you've been having a fun time listening to the conversation, but we're gonna put you back on the spot here. So this is your monthly chart. We have a red candle that happened in July. So go for it.
So what have you noticed on the monthly chart?
You have your favorite teacher's pet called Garcia there. You want to ask him?
Yes, Garcia.
Hey, Danny, here's an apple for you.
Hola, ¿cómo te va?
Muy bien, ¿y usted, profesor?
Muy bien, también. Okay, so Garcia, what do you think? What do you think about the black hole, dark hole, whatever?
It's so it looks interesting. Like I wonder where, like, if there was like some type of graph on volatility on how that kind of goes up and down around the black hole. So is it volatility basically going up as it approaches the black hole?
Exactly. So first of all, I just mentioned before you came in, is an indication of the volatility. So when the black hole appears, it tells us that we need to be psychologically prepared for the volatility.
Got it. So yeah, so that, like, as an option seller or option buyer, I think that's important to know when is a good time to either buy calls or buy puts, or be selling calls or selling puts.
Yes.
So that would be
and before I was using just two types of candles, the red candles and yellow candles to indicate the bearish trend or the bullish trend. So now I'm using the black hole as a new indicator for double confirmation. So the black hole here, so actually it comprises three nines: upper nine, the middle nine, and also the lower nine. And inside the black hole, there are 5 candles. Okay, and the 6th candle is very critical. The 6th candle, which is the candle outside the black hole, and that would be very important, telling us the price actions. So if the 6th candle, closes above the upper nine, it means that the uptrend is ongoing. So that would be another uptrend. Unfortunately, so here, looking back, you find that there's no candle which could close above the upper nine of the black hole. That's why Tesla failed to break all-time high from 2021 to 2025. Okay, so, and you will find that the 6th candle after the black hole, so I mean there are 5 candles inside the black hole, and the 6th candle, 7th candle actually start to close below. Okay, so when it close below, I mean the subsequent candle close below the lower nine of the black hole, it means that there will be a downtrend. So that would be a trend reversal, and the trend reversal was from being bullish to bearish. And you know, at that time I was learning the system of black hole, the indicator, and I didn't pay much attention to it. And my lack of attention and caused me a big lesson in life. I didn't follow the black hole that much, and that's why I was losing millions of dollars in Tesla. So if I had learned how to correctly interpret the black hole, I wouldn't have suffered a loss.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have had a lot of learning opportunities, but those are the learning opportunities that make you like billions, right? So I think you'd be fine.
Exactly. So this is a median lesson, you know.
Yeah, like you have to lose money to learn how to keep it and make
Exactly.
more. So,
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah. Who hasn't lost money in the stock market before you win?
do you see enough confirmation on the red candle from July yet at this point, or are you still waiting for certain things to happen?
Yeah, actually, the red candle, I mean, the last red candle on the monthly chart, is still with us, you know. So that's why I think there's no need to panic, because sometimes people are very worried about the long-term trend of Tesla when they see the daily fluctuations, you know, and people couldn't suffer from such daily volatility.
Well, not only that, it's like it looks like this ribbon wants to start curling up again soon too. Yeah.
As you can see, so actually every panel, the ribbon, the second panel, the trend line, the wealth accumulation in panel 3, and panel 4 MACD, and panel 5 RSI, the 3 sets of RSI, everything is curling up on the monthly chart.
Yeah, you have a lot of indicators that even with the wealth accumulation, looks like it's like slowly kind of going up too. And your blue ribbon is really tightening, your RSI is curling up, your MACD is curling up. Like there's a lot of confirmation too, and I think this goes along with like Matt, Tracker, and I have been kind of saying that it's a lot of confluence in terms of like the trend change from negative to positive.
Yeah, and actually
also
for the price level, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So we've got the forthcoming catalyst on 10th. Yeah, and it's okay. Thanks. So actually, for the price level, I think we need to pay attention to two price levels on my weekly chart. I'm just wondering whether I've showed my weekly chart or not, but it doesn't matter. I just simply mention those important price levels that we need to pay attention to. So there are two. I think there are two price levels which we need to pay attention. And the first one is 220.32. So actually, you will find this price level highlight on my monthly chart and also daily chart. I think we need to close above 220, which Tesla did this week. And the next level, which I'm looking for, is 230 to 235, and that would be a very important resistance zone on my weekly chart. And if we can have a weekly close above 235, I think the bullish trend is going to continue in the midterm. And of course, the higher the better. But for the time being, let's concentrate on these two levels. 220 first, that's a very important support level, and 230 and to 235. It's a very important resistance level. So probably next week, hopefully, I don't know, but based on my chart, I still think that Tesla could be quite bullish in the midterm. So hopefully, we're expecting a weekly close about 235, and that with the yellow candle can be engulfed, and the bullish trend can go on.
Yeah, so just looking at the monthly chart that you have here in like a bird's eye view, like this is exactly what I wonder whether or not the same thing is going to happen to Palantir, where you have a big, giant, crazy move that is just starting like Tesla did back in around like 2019, 2020. It takes years and years of gain, and it causes a lot of valuation expansion to happen. And next thing you know, like the narratives got really, really good, and next thing you know, you just have to correct sideways for years. I wonder if the same thing is like starting to happen with Palantir, but it's still kind of like where Tesla was a few years ago.
Yeah. Anyway, there's much room for Palantir to go based on my chart.
I kind of see like some similarities to this red candle right here forming to this one. How it closed above the blue ribbon, closed above the blue ribbon, then it's like building more blue candles on top like it did here. So maybe another big impulse move is coming. You know,
I'm not sure if it's going to make like a 40x because the market cap and all that, but I mean that looks it looks juicy. That's it. Tracker, what do you think? Tracker, are you there? Hello. He just said in the private chat. He says like, "I'm ready."
I'm ready. I'm sorry.
I'm ready, guys, and he runs away.
I'm ready whenever, and then I called him, and he's nowhere to be found.
I was typing up a storm, and I didn't want my keyboard to make all this noise, so I muted my microphone, and then I forgot that it was still on mute. But if Matt could bring me to the forefront, perfect. Okay. So here is a monthly. So we'll just stay in this old vein of monthly charts, right? Here's a monthly chart of Tesla. You go back before 2020, and it just looks like a line. You can't. There's nothing. It doesn't even compare to the kind of price action we've had ever since then. This is a linear chart. So a logarithmic chart would show you all the bumps and the details, but linear chart, it just looks like a line off of the history. Then from 2021 to 2022, we had this, this consolidation triangle again, and then this huge liftoff, which then led us into this 2.5 year long consolidation triangle. And you can see as the resistance trend line converges with the support trend line, eventually it squeezes price out and we get a breakout. And we're just starting the tip of this breakout right here. We haven't gotten a complete candle close over the top of this line on the monthly chart yet, but we're just about. I mean, on the weekly chart, I want to say that we have. So we're ready to kind of launch here. I've got this like this, but I think it's more like this and this. I think we've already gotten this 1-2 maybe. And so the next target is 382.89. Maybe this is a wave setup off of the 101 low to the 299.29 high, the 138.80 low. So from wave start 1, 2, then this is the wave 3 now. This is all of wave 3 from here to here. The minor wave 1, minor wave 2. I kind of skip 3 and 4. I usually just draw an entire wave setup for this. This is all of 3, then wave 4, then all of 5. What I tried to do here is if we did get a slightly more than 61.8% extension off of this 138.80 low, then and then a pullback to the 23.6%. Remember that low was 182, and so this is 185.41. Then from a 618.236, I usually go to 1,236, which takes us to 382.89. So this might be the high we get, either the Santa rally and then consolidation until it takes off again in, these aren't really drawn for time, like maybe in April. And then by some point next year, we hit 487. That's one idea. The second idea is if we simply do an ABC retrace, and I've got a retrace here on the left-hand side from the 101.81 low, retracing back towards the 414.50 high. And so using, Matt likes to do this 127% of extension. I think he does it on his charts. Anyway, if we get more, it retraces back bullishly. We already got from down here, we got 61.8, more than the 236 pullback. So I think it'll launch us this 127.2, which kind of has confluence with this 47.16 about, it's 499.55, right? And the thing is, though, instead of getting this 3, 4, 5, it would just go in a straight line from A, B. Let me just delete this for a second and then make this a lot thicker. You can see this would just be A, B, C. It would launch into this channel drive that you don't even see much pullback at all during it. So this is how Tesla typically corrects. Usually gets a B, C, like this long, sharp move is what I'm looking for. And then also I kind of copied the move that we had this gray horizontal rectangle, and I copied it and I scaled it, and that's what these bars here are in black.
Whoa.
So, yeah, it could, we could see something kind of like this. If history repeats itself, it'll look just like this. That goes to like 746. But just going on the technicals, I can see it. Like that's just going. These black lines are going on fractals, but going on technicals alone, this should get to at least 487 or 499.55 before it sees maybe another triangle, another little consolidation period. And that's my long monthly. That's my long view of Tesla. Lots of things going on with Tesla, with the robotaxi next, and then energy, and then AI and robotics. This company is going to go from being a car manufacturer to being a company that builds all the stuff that builds everything else in the world. Robots will build like our next, the next golden age will be the robotics age. That's going to be, founded with Tesla's going to be making all the picks and shovels for that. Gold Rush.
And I want to, and once you mentioned that, I want to ask your opinion. Then probably move on to like Jess and Garcia too. Like, what do you, now that we talked about Palantir, we talked about Tesla, both of them are in the forefront of what is coming in terms of innovation, things like that. Like, how do you compete between the two? I guess you don't have to because they have both their valid narrative. Well,
I mean, so right now. I'm sorry, I'm getting this microphone feedback. Right now, Palantir is a software as a service that shoehorns into whatever current business models a company has, whereas Tesla is making something brand new that also happens to be powered by AI. So I don't know how to compare. It's like my brain, Palantir is just sort of this more ambient force for civilization growth, and Tesla's like building this massive superstructure. So I don't know, like Tesla could be the bones of the Mecha Godzilla that we're building, and Palantir is all the skin and muscle.
Yeah. And I'm sure that now that we've compared the charts for Palantir and we've compared the charts for Tesla, Jess, people want to hear from you.
Really? You can't stop talking.
People want to hear from you. So you're a big Tesla bull, obviously. You've also been hanging around us, and you also know about Palantir, and we've kind of show you compare two charts, compare two fundamental narratives. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I am primarily in Tesla, but I have a really good position in Palantir. And I was lucky enough to get in with Danny quite early around that $8 mark when it sort of held that shelf and, retested and it turned it into support. So Palantir is still quite a large portion of my portfolio. But when I compare the two, I probably am not inclined to allocate some of my Tesla position towards Palantir at this stage. I might bring in new money for it, but I wouldn't necessarily sell Tesla for Palantir. And I guess Palantir's stock performance is tempting because its growth sort of in sectors like defense and finance. It leverages really big data analytics. However, for me, the profitability is really dependent on government contracts, data privacy regulations come into that. So that gives me a little bit of uncertainty to go any bigger at this stage. Tesla's appeal really lies in its established market position, like in electric vehicles, you have the energy solutions. And whether you want to admit it or not, or people don't like to admit it, Elon's got a great track record for innovation. So my reluctance to shift more from Tesla to Palantir is due to Tesla's broader market impact. It's got advanced technology like the autonomous driving, and it's really got established revenue streams compared to Palantir's more niche market. and I see it sort of niche at the moment until AI develops more fully, although Garcia might totally disagree with me there. I have, and as I said, I've got a strong position in Palantir, but perhaps it's about my broader market trust in Tesla's vision and its future in transport and energy versus Palantir's more specialised one. Although it's very crucial in offering its data analytics, for me, Tesla's narrative is more sustainable, it's innovative, and its global expansion at this stage is stronger for me. So its appeal for me is greater at the moment than Palantir. And I would want to be looking for more growth and more certainty in Palantir if I was going to shift over more of my Tesla position into Palantir. And I guess that sort of sums up where I'm at with it.
So whenever you have new money coming in, Jess, and you're trying to look at both of these opportunities, like what are kind of your thoughts in terms of how you would allocate new money? I know you have enough conviction to hold on, to the majority of your Tesla shares, but just kind of wondering, like, whenever new money comes in, because that kind of tells you what you think about the outlook moving forward, right? Or is it that you just have like a big enough Tesla position, you're going to hesitate to try and add on to that more, and you might more maybe focus on building a position in Palantir? Like, what are you doing with this?
And it is the latter. My Tesla position is sufficient, and I really only add on, like when it dropped down to below 160 and that 170, 160 level, I was just adding because that to me was like bargain city. So I was adding with some new money there, but otherwise, if Tesla is in the position that it's in now, I would be adding to Palantir and building up my position there. So yes, I guess the answer to that is my position in Tesla is sufficient. So I would now bring new money into Palantir rather than selling Tesla for Palantir.
I mean, I think that's a completely valid choice. Just like I feel like my Palantir position is, sufficient, so I'm gonna maybe start allocating new money into PayPal. Speaking of which, Garcia, are you there?
Yeah, I'm getting real sick and tired of you being rude like that.
How am I being rude?
Just kidding.
No, I wanted to
say, I didn't know if he was talking about me. Then I was going to say, I'm sorry, Garcia.
Garcia is totally talking about you being rude, Jess. Yeah, you guys. No. At the end. What do you, Garcia? What do you think about Jess's bearishness on Palantir? She was talking about
no, it wasn't bearish.
contracts and all that. What do you think?
Sorry, Garcia.
Stop picking on Jess.
No, but
also with the Tesla chart too, Garcia. Like, does it entice you to maybe switch over part of the position, or maybe get you to like some TSLA? Go ahead.
It really did. I mean, that's kind of what got me started on kind of diversifying a tiny bit, which of course I regret in hindsight, right? Like, of course I started diversifying a tiny bit right before the S&P inclusion, right before Palantir popped another 15% or 20%. But where Tesla is at now, and listening to Jess also, she reminded me that there are many countries in the world that they don't even have Teslas available yet, and people want them. People are clamoring. They're online. They're saying, when is Tesla coming to this country? When is Tesla coming to this country? And I'm thinking, holy shit! Like, they're not even there yet. Like, they have so many other countries to expand into, and the fact that they have such good graces with China, like the fact that China has given them so much leeway in FSD and how many factories they have there. The fact that they're getting even more pushback from Democrats than they are from the Chinese Communist Party says a lot. So it's like Tesla has a lot of growth ahead of them.
There goes your monetization, Matt.
I'm sorry.
No, please feel free. I want. Yeah. Actually, that's a very good thesis. So same thing. You can say the same thing about Palantir, right? I mean, Palantir also is not in like most countries. Like, Europeans don't even really care about Palantir at this point. So
no. And Alex Karp said that they're gonna come crawling back.
Yeah, they probably will.
Yeah.
No, it's always great to hear y'all's perspective. I don't know if, like, Seth, you want to weigh in for another half an hour on whether Seth, you there? Any thoughts?
Yeah. No, I agree with Jess. and pretty much everybody else. There's just lots of growth to come. And then we got the feds are going to start cutting, and which is really going to help Tesla, in my opinion, with lower interest rates and just some growth going forward of both Palantir and Tesla. I love them both. Just keep adding on the dips.
Yeah. Is there one that you're more bullish than the other? No, disappeared.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, that's an individual thing. Like, that's an individual thing. The market, that's what makes a market. I mean, I own both probably equally, and I'll probably own Tesla for years to come. I mean, there's just so much going on with Tesla, as Jess said earlier. So, yeah, that's a good question. I'm just a huge fan of AI in general. So, and both companies are just going to be leaders in that sector, you know.
Okay, so you're not going to play favorite like Jess Garcia. You don't have a favorite.
No, he has a favorite. It's called Jess.
It's called what?
Jess.
What'd you say, Jess?
It's called Jess. You love Jess. You love Jess over Garcia.
Who doesn't love Jess? Come on.
Danny's on the background, like laughing. Anyway, let's get Danny back on the stage, Matt. I have two more charts. I think we can talk about two more charts from Danny. We're probably going to skip Meta, but I'd like to talk about MSTR and the S&P 500, and then we'll probably open up the floor, maybe ask Jess more about macro things like that. So, Matt, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So which chart are we doing?
I think we can do like MSTR, just talk a little bit about Bitcoin.
The monthly? Okay.
Yeah. And then we probably go to SPY after that. Danny, you're up.
I don't have the SPY chart. Danny never sent that, by the way.
He did. It was in the file.
Meta Amex.
It's the SPY at the...
Well, just send it again, then you can talk about this.
Okay, yeah. Sure. Okay. Just give me a few seconds.
Okay. Well, I mean, right now we have the MSTR chart up. I think we'd like to just kind of dive maybe no more than 15, 20 minutes into like Bitcoin, things like that. Matt, I know while we're waiting for Danny's chart, any thoughts on like MSTR Bitcoin just in general?
Yeah, I can pull up my MSTR chart here for you guys. And what I'm really looking at for MSTR is first I got to find it. So I think ultimately it is going to 300, but I think it's just waiting on Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin touched the cloud, but MSTR did not. Oh, I added the words here too, by the way. I'm not sure if you guys like that. But yeah, it's just since the breakout, I mean, it did backtest there, but it hasn't really touched it since. So, and it just closed right at resistance. See, another example of a stock closing right at resistance, just like the SPY and just like kind of like the others as well. So this is still in a range. Like no matter which way you see it, it's still in a range. Just like Bitcoin, I think it's still in a range, and it's not going to be exciting to me until it breaks above all resistance levels. And I think for Bitcoin, that's for me, it's around 62,500. So I think until I see that, I think MSTR is also going to get stuck for a while. So that's what I see. But ultimately, once it builds that base, I think it's going to go to the next level there, which is 300. And it stopped short before. And it has been, when I take this off, it has been perfectly symmetrical in the past on log scale here with that 45-degree angle with the top arc there as well, especially with the orange level on the bottom. So yeah, it's only a matter of time before it gets to that 300 price, in my opinion, which would be almost a little bit more than a double from current price, but it still has to, in my opinion, still has to find its base, and it's not breaking resistance yet. And also it's kind of like a higher low still from the previous, like from here, higher low, still a higher low, right? So it needs to start breaking out, making moves before I get excited, but it's only a matter of time, in my opinion.
Very nice. Tracker, do you have exposure to Bitcoin in any form, shape right now?
Based on Matt's TA last month, I bought some XRP, and then I ended up converting just a small fraction of XRP to the what do you call it? Something AI.
You're not going to say C3 AI, are you? Yeah.
No. It's another coin.
Fetch AI. Fetch AI. You probably
Fetch AI. That's it. So I've got small. I've got my exposure to Bitcoin is actually just to the small XRP.
Yeah.
XRP and Fetch AI.
Got it. I was gonna. If you say C3 AI, Garcia is gonna like.
No. That's not really unique.
I will leave this live stream. I will leave.
Yeah, Fetch AI.
Well, I have been kind of tracking what there's a what's it called? Hang on. I've been tracking that there's a Bitcoin ETF if you wanted to pull an exposure to Bitcoin without actually having to buy Bitcoin. BITX. It's a Volatility Shares Trust 2x Bitcoin ETF. So if you just wanted to like trade Bitcoin without, and you've got money in a 401k or in stocks, but not in cash that you can go in and out of Bitcoin, you could trade BITX.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too. Danny also his system doesn't have crypto, but he is using a lot of these like different instruments, including MSTR, which I think he's going to talk about here, right, Danny?
Oh yes, thank you.
Yeah. What do you think? I see a dark hole there. Should we be scared?
Yes, I think so.
Let's more about it.
Sure.
Okay, so what I would like you to do is to compare the differences of the black hole. So actually, can you see the second last one, the second last black hole, and also the last black hole? So
yeah, is the same thing going to happen?
I didn't know. I'm not aware.
I see a difference. When this dark hole, black hole happened, they were light blue candles. Now these are dark blue candles. So
excellent. Oh, yeah. 100 marks. Okay. So
what do I win? What's my prize? No.
We'll talk more about that behind the scenes.
Okay.
Did you say a kiss from Jess? Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so let's go back to the chart. Okay, so now on the monthly chart here, so let's try to take a look at the second last black hole. Yes. Okay, so now sometimes we might be skeptical when we see the yellow candle. So actually, the black hole here serves as another indicator telling us that something volatile is going to happen and some trend reversal is going to happen if we haven't so based on the yellow candle just before the black hole appeared. Okay, so let's put it simply. So actually, 1 hour ago we talked about how to identify the black hole and all these price levels. So let's try to make it as simple as possible. So the black hole actually comprises 3 different price levels: the upper 9, the second, the upper 9, the middle 9, and also the lower 9. And when you see the candle close below the yellow 9, please run. And that's the last time you have to run. Okay, and in order to escape from the downtrend. So here the black hole tells us of 2 things: volatility and second, trend reversal from being bullish to bearish. Okay, so what about the last black hole? The last black hole. Fortunately, we don't find any light blue candles. We don't find any yellow candles. So once again, there are 3 different price levels. Okay, so the upper level should be, based on my calculation, it should be something like 180. Okay, so we need to see the monthly candle closing above this level so that MSTR can soar, can still continue its upward trend. Okay, however, if we see the monthly close below the lower 9 of the black hole, probably we might have to trim or we might have to run, depending on the price levels and depending on the trend at that time.
Do you have a position in MSTR right now, Danny?
Yes, I do. I haven't trimmed any because I still believe in the story of Bitcoin. And I still believe in Michael, a very smart CEO of MSTR. So I still have high conviction in Bitcoin.
And the red candle's still valid.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the red ribbon is not tightening. Okay. So that's why I continue to hold MSTR despite the price of volatility.
Yeah, but you let us know when there's any warning sign, right, Danny?
Yeah.
Do you have a price for a yellow candle to start to form on the monthly chart or no?
Which yellow candle?
Do you have a price, like if there were to be a yellow candle forming, do you have a price target for that or no?
I don't actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I didn't do the exact calculations when the red candle or yellow candle would appear.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the great thing about Danny's chart is you don't have to anticipate anything. You just let what the chart tells you, and you can be reactive.
I'm being passive. I'm being passive.
Right. Right. And you can totally like react. And if there's if you were to bought like in the double digits, then I think you still have plenty of gains. Even if things don't work out, you're going to end up taking profit at some point if you see any warning signs. So.
Hey, Danny.
Yes.
I have a question for you. So where do you see Bitcoin going? Do you have a target price for Bitcoin this cycle, and what time frame?
And actually, most people are super bullish about Bitcoin. But I think for my target level is around 100K, because I think this is a very important psychological level. And if this level can stand, probably you can talk about 150K and 200K. But if 100K cannot stand, so I think it doesn't make sense if people tell you how bullish they are about Bitcoin. So I would just use 100K as a level which I have to keep an eye on as my target price. So I think let's put it this way. So we have the triple top or double top at 74K in regards to Bitcoin, and if this triple top level can be overcome, so probably next will be 85K, and if we can overcome 85K, and the next will be 100K. Yeah, based on the Fibonacci levels. However, if 100K doesn't really stand, so probably we just wait and see. So instead of giving a very super bullish target price for Bitcoin.
Okay. So and what's your time frame? Is it like mid 2025 or the end of 2025 or early 20?
I guess 2025 should be the year for Bitcoin.
Seth, are you trading your Bitcoin and miners based on like cycles, based on how things go?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, they're not a buy. They're not a buy and hold. I mean, there's going to be a bear market.
Yeah. Even for Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said in some previous spaces, I think Bitcoin is now a teenager and it's just slowly growing up from its infancy 15 years ago. And we're still really early. Like everybody I've ever talked to in the last 6 months, they don't even really understand Bitcoin. They think it's a joke. They're still laughing about it. And we're just so early still. And I mean, but I was talking to someone just the other day and they said they can't even remember when they used cash. Like we're already in the digital age. So there is the transition period into digital currency. And, once there's just more mass adoption, that's been happening in the last year, which is incredible. But I mean, the miners, I will be taking profits as Bitcoin hits 100, 150. I mean, my price target is 250 for Bitcoin, and the miners are 5 to 10x from here, and I'll be definitely taking profits. So that's just me. Everyone trades differently.
Yeah, and that's it's a valid strategy based on cycles and things like that. Jess, you have a position in Bitcoin, right?
Me?
What's that?
Good morning, Jess. Yeah, you.
You have a position in Bitcoin that you almost never talk about. I'm not going to ask you to expand. I just want to make sure that you have exposure.
You shocked me then. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I've been buying since about 2020, but I don't do anything with it. I'm not really clever. I just like buy it whenever I have a few extra dollars.
Can you be friends with anybody who doesn't believe in Bitcoin, Jess?
No.
That's
silly, isn't it?
Yeah, I know you actually believe in Bitcoin as well. You just never really talk about it. I just wanted to bring that out of you. That's all. Garcia, do you have exposure?
Not currently. And I actually was over the weekend. I was looking at either BITX or MicroStrategy. And I was noticing on almost all of the time frames, MicroStrategy is outperforming Bitcoin on downturns and when it's going up. And I'm just curious about your guys' opinion, what you guys feel about MicroStrategy as as kind of a proxy for Bitcoin.
Oh man, if you are looking at the MicroStrategy over Bitcoin chart, like the ratio chart, it still looks like it's forming higher lows and higher highs. Like I think that's also part of the reason why I think the cycle hasn't been over yet. And that the whales, like if the whales would smell something from the macro, which we're gonna talk a little bit, in a little bit, but if the whales would smell something in macro, like they wouldn't piling into MicroStrategy, and MicroStrategy chart wouldn't be looking as strong as it is. So I still think that there's another leg up. It's hard for me to say whether or not MicroStrategy is the better play or miners the better play. But part of the reason why is because MicroStrategy was an early runner last cycle too, and then the miners ran later.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
they run differently. Like people, like Bitcoin will go up 2% in a day, and the miners won't barely move. And I get tons of messages like, "Why didn't my Clean Spark go up?" And I'll be like, well, that's just the way it trades. Like MicroStrategy will go up, and on days where the miners will go up and Bitcoin does nothing, and it's just the way it does. It's been happening for a long time, so you just have to be patient. The rising tide will raise all boats. The Coinbase, MicroStrategy, all the miners, all the proxy plays, all the ETFs, everything will go up as Bitcoin continues to rise. And once we, like Danny said earlier, once we hit 100K, everything's just going to be much higher.
Yeah. Go ahead, Matt. You want to say?
And just basically everything is still kind of stuck from that massive sell-off for miners too. So it's just getting out of that hole, and people don't realize that there's a lot of damage done. So it takes a little bit more time to recover. So it did recover a lot from the bottom, but now it has still this daily resistance levels that it has to break before it goes higher and higher. But yeah, essentially it's going to get there, but it just got a little more damage than MicroStrategy and others. So just got to be a little bit more patient. But yeah, it's going to come.
Yeah, there are two thoughts on that too. One thought would be, I mean, even IWM right now is underneath resistance. Like that's basically, I think, the same pool of liquidity that the miners also have to be subjected to. You have to really wait for like the small cap euphoria to come, which hasn't come yet. The other thought is, the other thought is that the miners, like, there's an argument saying that they keep on diluting. I mean, yes. But that also is what makes them such a crazy leverage play, right? Like, you're not really going to get miners to run until you really truly have like a crazy euphoria, which, as far as Bitcoin is concerned, they've accumulated for so long. Like, there's probably going to be some kind of euphoria where whale's going to distribute to you. And that's when usually the miners, like, smell it out, especially IWM makes it this all-time high. Like, that's kind of what I'm looking at. But it might take some time to play out because, technically they're just not ready yet. Just like IWM is not quite ready yet. So we've got somebody here, which I was trying to get her to talk last time. Heidi, are you there? Is your mic not turning on?
Just give her a second. Sometimes
no, her mic's on. I turned her mic on, so it's fine.
Yeah, thanks for specifying that you turned her mic on, because I don't want anybody to get upset.
But maybe she's on mute and doesn't realize it right now, so that's why.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions from the audience? Like, is there?
Well, I want to talk about the macro first. So far, I'm not seeing any questions. I want to talk about like the S&P 500 next, and I actually want Jess to kind of help weigh in a little bit in terms of like, and also like everybody else to kind of weigh in the market. So if Heidi's having some technical difficulties, I think we can move on to SPY.
If Heidi doesn't come on just yet, I've got a chart I could show you. Take 2 minutes, and it compares MicroStrategy and Bitcoin.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, then somebody can find Heidi.
Yeah, I don't know what Heidi is.
Heidi's hiding out.
She's hiding out.
All right, you're up.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. So this is a chart I just drew while you guys were talking. Here's MicroStrategy on the top and Bitcoin on the bottom, and I've lined them up by time. These are monthly candlesticks. And so MicroStrategy actually has a whole bunch of history way back here from the .com era, and that's going to impact how its price moves. And so, in fact, what I've done here is way back in time. I took its whole retrace move from where it started to from its lowest point back to its highest ever point at 333, an ABC retrace plus another 27.2% would take it to 423.46. And I just want to put these lines back up again. And then so here's where Bitcoin started to move. Well, actually, I'm just comparing these two in time. This arrow for Bitcoin is showing from kind of its lower point. I guess I really have to take it all the way back here. It's kind of hard to compare this to the other thing, but from way back here, it's like 600,000% to the highest high we ever had. Right here, the 73,794, 602,000%. Now comparing where price is now to where I have a 5-wave extension predicting Bitcoin to 179,814 for the top of this cycle. That's 203% from here to there. And MicroStrategy, oddly enough, is also just about 200% from where price is today to that 27.2%. So I think there's perhaps some confluence between the two of them now that they've had time to align MicroStrategy with Bitcoin. And that's it. I just want to show you my target for MicroStrategy could be 423.46 versus Bitcoin 179,000.
Yeah. I think you've kind of shown us similar. Thanks for reiterating this. I think we looked at this similarly back on Tuesday as well. It's kind of interesting. Like even for CleanSpark, they didn't really officially become like a Bitcoin miner until maybe like December 2020. But even then, like their price action before that still matters in terms of the technical. It's interesting how these things work. But thank you for sharing this.
Anytime.
Yeah, we'll move on to S&P 500 while we try to find Heidi. You want to, Matt? You want to anything else to weigh in before we move on to like the SPY chart? Maddie. So everybody's falling asleep.
I'm here. I was just pulling up the SPY.
I want it now. I want it now.
Do it now.
And meanwhile, I just want to let you know, Jules have given Matt a super sticker on YouTube. So thank you, Jules.
Thank you, Jules. Yes, I appreciate the super sticker. Yes, very, very kind.
Yes, very kind.
And it's even Canadian too. So.
I don't know what that has anything to do with it, Pat, but anyway.
All right. Yeah, here we go. Here is the SPY right in front of us. Is Danny available?
Yes, I'm available. Yeah.
Danny.
Okay, so I need your help. So just can some of you tell me how to interpret the black hole?
Garcia, are you there?
Yeah, where's Garcia?
Sorry, guys. I was just looking at the Wall Street Journal article. I was just featured in.
What does the sixth candle tell us on this black hole chart?
Yeah, look at the last black hole, which I guess is right before, the 2022 massive drop. What did it tell you?
Oh, so I think it's gonna go down, and as you can tell, it did go down. So
I like the answer.
Oh, wow, Captain Hindsight right there.
No, but
100% accuracy.
Sorry, I can't help it.
Trading in hindsight is, if that could be profitable, that'd be amazing.
I can't help it. But I guess that was talking about the type of candle that closes right outside of the black hole is, I guess, what would be an indicator where the price action is going to go next.
Somebody's got a lot of noise in the background. What's going on? Is it you, Garcia?
I don't think so.
Garcia,
I'm
are you at a
speaker,
pub?
but... No, I'm just...
Are you in the toilet reading the Wall Street Journal?
No, like, what the heck? Like, have it... Is it me?
A pub at this early in the morning, that would be some problems right there.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
No worries. Garcia, keep talking. What do you see on Danny's chart? Work with Danny here.
Oh man. Okay. But it's like regarding. Okay, hold on. The screen is kind of buggy. This is bugging out on me right now. Okay. I see it now. Well, I mean, I think because there was a yellow candle right outside of the black hole, so that's like the sixth candle outside. I think that's kind of like it's a higher chance that the next move would be to the downside. And of course, this is all probabilities, right? Like you can't bet the whole farm on the next move, because there could be some type of fundamental shift or something happening with the company or the asset, or the index in this case. And this is the daily or month? This is the monthly chart.
This is
right?
the monthly. Yeah.
Man, what a signal, right? Like, know, because then people could hedge a little bit as well. Like, let's say you do want to remain long on the S&P.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing the black hole kind of like form. That would mean that there's more volatility, meaning you're getting more premium when you're selling covered calls or cash secured puts. So let's say you're an ultra bull and you're all in the S&P, that would be a good time to hedge to the downside with some covered calls. Your premiums would get more, your covered calls would get more premium. And let's say SPY does keep moving up, then you still have the possibility to keep riding the wave up if you have your covered calls at, conservative strikes. If you have them low delta, you still have the possibility to stay on the wave. Kind of how I've been doing with Palantir. Like I've been selling covered calls on Palantir, I mean, literally all year, and I haven't been assigned on any of my covered calls. I took action when the strikes were tested. I even gave back a little bit of profits when it got really, when it started really running against me. I figured, you know what, I'll give back a little bit to stay in the trade or stay in the investment.
So looking at the monthly chart here, it doesn't really seem to have any warning sign there, does it, Garcia?
Right now, that I can tell. I mean, let me see. I don't. I mean, I see the MACD curling down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm looking at the bottom, where it's like a little bit of curling, but it doesn't seem like anything concerning, anything that like, okay, like this is getting scary.
Yeah.
That's just, and I'm just trying to compare it kind of to the last downturn where the last black hole was, and it's hard to tell for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, like there's really not much volatility over the last 2 years. It's just been going up, so there really has not been anything. But Danny, what do you think?
Well, so actually, so you will find that
what is that music on the background?
Yeah,
I turned on the music because we're talking about black holes, so it's all around.
It's your
all
channel,
lounge.
it's your monetization, whatever you want. All right, Danny, sorry, go ahead.
Feeling loungy.
So here, so let's try to make it simple. So there are 3 different price levels: the upper 9 in the black hole, the middle 9, and also the lower 9. So actually, you will find that the most important candle is the 6th candle after the black hole, because the black hole comprises 5 candles, and the 6th candle is critical in determining the price action. And you find the yellow candle in the 6th candle, actually. So that gives us a very strong signal that the downtrend is coming, believe it or not. Okay, so first of all, the black hole serves as a warning. Okay, and second, the yellow candle told us to run. So here we've got double confirmations. Okay, however, if the monthly candle closes above the upper level, and the upper level is a resistance level, so that means that the stock is going higher, and you will see. So actually, when probably how do I count the monthly candle? So probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So probably 6 or 7 months ago, that monthly candle actually went beyond the upper line of the last black hole. Yeah. So that's why that was okay. So when you see the candle closing above the upper level, so actually that might be also the time for you to buy or accumulate, because based on these signals, it tells you that the price can go higher. So sometimes we might miss black candle. It doesn't matter. So just wait for the candle closing about the upper line of the dark hole, and that would be another signal, another buying opportunity.
I mean, just look at how beautiful your yellow and your red candles have played out on the monthly for S&P 500. Like, you don't have to time the bottom, but you can avoid loss. Yeah,
it doesn't make sense, because that would give you lots of pressure to time the bottom. So normally, my followers kept asking me, when is the best? I want the best, the lowest entry level, and I told them, I didn't have the crystal ball. I didn't know when the best time was. We just ride with the trend. We just follow the candles. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting because there are a lot of narratives. I'm going to shift over to Jess here, so get ready for the main course of the show. No pressure, Jess. But just looking at the S&P 500 chart here, like, there really isn't any warning sign so far, but that the recession narratives has been just kind of going like crazy. A lot of people are saying, that there's just a lot of bearish narratives out there. Recession, unemployment going up. I kind of want to hear from the great Jess in terms of what your thoughts are for maybe the rest of Q3, Q4 into 2025, as well as like the recent volatility that we're experiencing. Please take it away. We're all very eager to hear from you.
Drum roll, please. Drum roll.
Oh my goodness, you guys. Matt,
no pressure, Jess.
No pressure at all. Matt, do you have that chart on seasonality that you could put up? Or is it up? Yeah.
Wow, nice work, Matt. That was quick.
That was really good, Matt. Okay, so Kat, you asked me about seasonality because we are seeing volatility. And seasonality just really gives us a view on how the markets have traded in the past, averagely how they've traded, but it doesn't mean that they're going to do so again. But we can use it to see if there's any bias in the market to rally or decline. So that chart, Matt, can you only put up one at a time, or can you put 2 up?
Yeah, Matt,
it's the median.
Can you do double testing?
What I would like is that median 2-week return since 1950 in the S&P. Yes, nice. That one. Sorry, I'm a bit slow. I'm flicking screens. So what I see is that seasonals in the S&P 500 on that chart are really tracking perfectly. So, oh, Matt, I'm really sorry, but it's the other chart I need.
It's not the chart you need? Okay, which one do you need?
The first one that you put on.
The first one.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. And okay. I'm sorry.
No
so
problem.
Look, they're tracking perfectly for seasonality. And what I see in that chart is that July has been the strongest month of the year. That's checked off. And then early August, we peaked, that sort of checked off. Late August, we bottomed, that sort of checked off. And if it continues, seasonals stay strong until about mid-September. Then they peak, with September being the most bearish month of the year on average. So since 1950, and I had to look this up today, the second half of September has had the worst returns of any 2-week trading period in the year. And that was that chart that you just took down, Matt. In fact, the last 11 days of the month are historically even worse, with the returns being negative 10 out of 11 days, which is pretty bad. And you can see that it really, really slopes down towards the last weeks of September there. But seasonals for me are just an alert tool. Like, you can't just trade on seasonality. This year's an election year, and we really had the best start to the election year since, ages ago in the 70s. And then we got into the middle of the year and hit August, and we saw this seasonality really hit us, and it was the upset of the Japanese yen trade that was at that time the catalyst. But it was only an 8.5% correction, so it's really just a mild correction as far as correction goes. Most years we sort of expect to see at least 3 lots of pullbacks of 5 to 10%. So it really was mild. And my personal take, for what it's worth, is that the headlines can be scary, the bears want to come out and play, but I don't really see any signs of recession as yet. And you guys can disagree and butt in here. Also remember that most years have really scary headlines and scary pullbacks. It's not just this year, but we've got stats to show that we should still have a pretty good gain going into the end of the year. November and December are seasonally very good months. So we've got S&P data going back to the 50s, 1950s or whatever, and sometimes there's clear trends that we can use, even though you wouldn't just use seasonality. But it gives us little clues, like, for example, the last 10 times you had a president up for re-election, the market was up all those 10 times. So that's like a really handy hint. So backing up a bit at the charts that you just put up, Matt, August and part of September can be really wonky. Election years are generally 7% up, and when the president's up for re-election, it's an even stronger year. So how do we take advantage of it? Well, we're familiar with Christmas and the Christmas rally, and markets generally start moving upwards from the Thanksgiving period into the end of the year, and that usually spills over into January. We also saw in 2016 and 20 that there was a sell-off ahead of the election because markets really hate uncertainty. Then when that uncertainty is over, you get that really upward bias again, which is what you see coming into October. And then that direction turns positive and we get that rally. Looking back, even over the last 30 years, November and December have been really positive months for seasonality. So it's entirely difficult to sort of predict the bottom of the market, but with just an 8% correction, it gives me some sort of confidence that we'll see money stay in the market. And that's really what we started to see last week. September is a month of high seasonality, and we're sure to see more scary headlines. We've got FOMC coming up, and that will cause volatility. If we look at the data, though, it's not bad data. What we've seen in all of the recent reports has been relatively good data. We need to be mindful, of course, of unemployment creeping up, but inflation looks like it's firmly going to go back to the 2% stated Fed target, and the economy is still strong. So Jay Powell just made it really abundantly clear that he's going to start cutting rates in September, and that too lends to a positive market. I think they've got 100 basis points targeted for the rest of this year and 150 in 2025 priced in. And they've also said that they're willing to be more flexible if job losses accelerate. So the big question then really is to ask ourselves, what's the best way to approach the markets? Do we dig in on weakness and buy the best names, or are we looking at all the data and is it challenging? But to me, the path of least resistance is that we go higher. That's really what I see from everything that I'm seeing. This week we sort of saw a reversal in the high beta names, and we saw Tesla do really well and Palantir do really well. NVIDIA sort of picked itself up again, and we really need to see that, Because if we want to see the S&P at 6,300 and the Dow at, 46,000 and the NASDAQ at new all-time highs, we really need to see some consumer discretionary ripping up higher. So I guess that's the beauty of technical analysis. We can see these things sort of in multiple timeframes for both short and long-term horizons. But one thing that I haven't seen, and I don't know if any of you guys have, but I haven't seen any new lows on my charts. And you can't have a correction of any kind or officially a bear market without it. So no matter the analysis or the macro or the fundamentals, or when they talk about yield curve, you can't, and we haven't seen it. When you start to see an expansion of new lows in the market, then it's time to take some sort of caution and worry. But I haven't seen that yet. I don't know, Matt, if my charts are wrong and I just can't see it, but I just haven't seen it.
No, yeah. I think people are just fear mongering out there, and I don't see any kind of fear in the future. Any reason for fear?
Well said, Jesse. Well said.
Yeah.
The more bearish narratives there are, the more bullish I am, to be honest. And I think I wanted to follow up a couple of things too. Just so you talk about potential volatility coming on the second half of September. I guess one thought would be whether or not we front ran that with the whole yen carry trade, because there's a huge flush on a very terrible Monday back in August. I wonder whether or not we kind of front ran that. But regardless, seasonality has been worked. Like your seasonality chart actually worked out really well last year too, where it really went all the way to October. I wonder whether or not the market makers maybe trying to trick us and saying, hey, September to October is going to be bad again, but they already kind of front ran. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
We sort of spoke about that, and there is, quite a firm belief that they might have front run that yen trade. And even things like Goldman Sachs, they're expecting GDP growth to be really robust, and that sort of really belies recession fears. And the optimism, even there, it's sort of strengthened by really strong consumer spending and business investments, and it's got a really resilient job market. And I guess we still need to look for further job losses, but I just can't see a recession. And I think, Kat, whether they're front run it or not, we might still get some weakness because the seasonality charts have been tracking really, really closely.
Yeah.
But even so, we can see that going into the latter half of October and after the election, it just seems to be all up. And November and December are just traditionally strong.
What are your thoughts on the revision numbers? Does anyone have any thoughts on the revision numbers? Like, remember there were like 800,000 or something?
They're all manipulated. They're all government numbers. They're all bad numbers. They're always going to be bad.
I think, in all fairness, Seth, that's part of the problem for people, because people are not trusting data anymore. So that becomes, like a concern and a worry. Can we trust the data? Is that going to be right? Are they going to revise it? Every single set of figures are revised. So it's sort of like the trust in the Federal Reserve is out the window.
Well, I think we have to stick to what we know. And what we know is they're going to keep printing money, and there's going to be a huge increase of U.S. money supply. So if that's the case, then things are going to keep going higher. So all data is irrelevant, in my opinion.
Yeah, there are really no thoughts. I think the last two big crashes, the dot-com bubble, happened when you have 5 years straight of just euphoria. Then in the technical, it's just absolutely insane. There's a huge amount of leverage that's being built up. And then with the great financial crisis, there's also a huge amount of leverage in the housing sector that has been built up. So they just needed to deleverage. There's really not really any particular reason here to think that way. So there's a lot of room for the Fed to, keep printing money and for the policy to keep going higher. That's kind of what I think. And even with Jess being kind of cautious into September, you're not trading this move. You're just basically telling people to exercise caution, right? But that's it, right? Yeah. So I think we all kind of more or less have a longer viewpoint here. Is that right, Jess?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think if you look at the yield curve, and you sort of asked me about that last week, but even the yield curve is sort of supporting that this sort of forecast that it's going to be okay, because even though it's sort of uninverted, it's now re-inverted. So it's gone back down below the zero. That's right, isn't it, I think? And so it's re-inverted because the economy is still really, really strong. So until we sort of see the yield curve really steepen and uninvert, like there should be no worry on the horizon about recession.
Is this the chart you want me to pull up when you're talking about the yield curve?
I don't know if I gave you one.
Yeah, I think you gave us a couple, but it's okay. I think the whole idea is even with the yield curve uninverted with the steepening, like it doesn't. It's hard to tell what exactly it does. I mean, like people saying that time recession like 8 times out of 8 or whatever previously, but I don't know, like would not.
But it really has, Kat, and even down to the Great Depression, I think the yield curve uninverted the month of the start of that. It has in every single instance, perhaps except one. So I guess for me, if I look at the chart of the yield curve, it's really a chart of the yield curve with unemployment. So when you see the yield curve uninverting, you start to look for those job losses. And when you see that those job losses are increasing, you know that the economy is going to be in trouble. So for me, looking at my investments, that would be the first thing that would start to alert me that I might have to be a little bit cautious.
I do wonder whether or not this whole cycle has just been really wacky currently, because like you already had the huge unemployment spike back in COVID, and then you already had like the great deleveraging that happened in 2022, and you already had like some signs of consumer weakening over like the last year or so. I just wonder whether or not this whole like recession deleveraging is just playing a little bit differently in the yield curve. Steepening or uninversion may just play out differently too.
It's a valid question. Even when you look at the VIX, like we know a month ago the VIX shot up to 60, but then the next day it was under 30. And so the VIX is sort of like, it's not a trend indicator as such. It tends to revert to the mean. And so when you're sort of seeing that, even the VIX, I think it's now just like 16 or something like that. So you wonder if even the VIX is not really an instrument that's valid this cycle, that's really going to predict anything much this cycle. It could be that this cycle is just different, as you said, because of COVID. I don't know. It's a strange one.
Yeah, it's very strange. Matt, I want to say, I think your view count probably just jump up by like 1,000 views just for having Jess talking. So congratulations. Let's go ahead and keep this going. Heidi, are you there?
Yeah, seriously.
We want another female voice in our group. If you're there, please say hi. Is she still having technical difficulties? Oh my god!
I think she muted herself. Oh, there she goes.
Wait. Let's just take a moment of silence to, you know.
But if Heidi, if you check your mute button, make sure it's not clicked on.
Yeah, because Matt wants another like 1,000 views on his video, so if you can come on and talk a little bit, that'd be great.
Matt, it's all about you, you greedy little guy, you.
No, I'm not. I just think if space is allowed for videos, it'd be great, right? But it doesn't. Oh, Heidi's there. I hear her finally.
I'm just teasing.
Heidi, I hear your phone moving. I hear something, Heidi.
Heidi, are you kidding?
Are you out there?
Do you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We hear you.
Out of everybody in the group, I thought you were like a most technically savvy.
Heidi, are you kidnapped?
Yes, yeah. Oh man, she's not there anymore.
No, you were there, Heidi, but I think you muted yourself again.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Okay. Now,
so for everybody who doesn't know, like the back in February when I started my YouTube channel, I didn't know like how to make videos or anything. Heidi was really the one to like get me going, to like help me, give me technical tips and things like that. And like for the last 2 shows here on Spaces and today, like you've been having technical difficulties. What's going on with that?
And I think she's still muting herself. I don't see any activity on her microphone, so I believe you need to take off that mute button, Heidi.
Yeah, specifically that mute button.
That anyway. the button with the microphone, you gotta You got to tap it.
All right, guys. Well, let's have some ending remarks while Heidi is trying to figure it out. Matt, what do you think about the whole market overall? Any final thoughts or anything?
The whole market overall is like, yeah, it's at resistance, really, and it's really at resistance right in time for some news. So we'll see what happens. And I could just go to my charts here real quickly and show what's really happening with the Dow. Like the Dow still is not really making new highs. That means the previous candles are the resistance. The SPY really at all-time highs, can't break above. QQQ still making lower highs, right?
Pat, can you hear me?
Oh yes, now we
can hear you now. Yeah,
so everything's making towards resistance, but now it's Heidi's turn. So let's go ahead.
What's going on? I thought you were supposed to be technically savvy.
Oh God, did she mute herself again?
I think she muted herself.
It may not even be her that she's muting herself. She might be having connectivity problems.
Oh, it could be, but
yeah.
Usually I can see activity. Like I can see Red Fox, his activity on his mic, and I can see activity in others, but none on Heidi's right now. So.
All right, big brother, keep going.
I can see everything.
Matt, before you do, can I just butt in about, because you're talking about the Dow Jones. So we've got industrials going up, but we don't see transports going up.
Yeah.
Something to be concerned about?
I don't know. I think maybe transports are getting hit harder with other increasing costs or something, So just like the reason oil is really low too, but gasoline is still relatively high just because it takes energy to make gasoline, right? So I think there's still other costs involved.
What is going on?
That's Heidi's. Is that Heidi's phone?
She's definitely kidnapped.
Yeah, they can better do so. Anyway, yeah. I think the whole thing about the transportation thing too is like the costs during COVID is just astronomical. If anything, I think it might be like a little bit of deleveraging going on. Like there's like just a lot of people that's just been hit so hard that everything is kind of cyclical. And for this cycle, it just seems like they're kind of playing out at different times. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Like Nike didn't really start as deleveraging until this year. So there's a lot of different things that are transpiring this cycle that just seems a little bit different from the past.
All right, we hear you now, Heidi. I hear you.
I hear you,
Heidi. I heard a big sigh.
But then did you mute yourself again?
I think it's connectivity, or she's got some sort of microphone device that's not working for her.
Yeah, I think it's her mic that's not working. So if it's like one of those iPhone or AirPods or something, sometimes they don't really work that well. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's okay. I think we'll go ahead and just finish up the show, and then we can do an exclusive with Heidi next time.
We should encourage Heidi to do like an audio recording and just like post it on her X profile page.
Yeah. Like she's actually real, and like she's just not like this AI stuff that we're like, oh, she's got some technical difficulties. Anyway. Yeah, but
she's got a lot to say. So everything that she wants to say, she should say it on her profile page and audio recording, and then we can all link to it from the show.
I see her mic lighting up right now, so you're there, Heidi, or you were. There's got to be a connectivity. Okay, well.
All right. Final remarks, Matt.
Final remarks is everything's near resistance, so things could easily just go down. That seems like a lot, but I don't know if it is actually a lot. Like there's really a lot of wiggle room here from like what was the range just this week for the Dow from the bottom to the top? Like it was like a 3-4%. Like that's pretty large for a Dow Jones, right? Just for a week, a range. But it seems more and more normal now. Like before we didn't really see that, but now it's the norm. So just expect volatility, and that's all I got to say.
Actually, hey Matt, can you bring up the VIX?
Yeah.
So what I noticed, and then zoom in, like do like that is a weekly chart. I guess maybe like a daily chart almost. But you can see like there's an uptrend in the support trend line for the VIX. We're just getting more and more like higher volatility is becoming normalized right now.
Yeah.
I think it's because we're moving out of this end of a converging triangle. We can't go higher, can't go lower. it gets squeezed tighter and tighter, and so we're getting like these faster shifts up and down before we break out.
It's very important to note that, and we were just talking to Jess a little bit too, volatility is actually not a bad thing, especially at like the beginning to mid stages of the market, because sometimes you need the volatility to really flush out leverage, to really try to, like the whales market makers try to take shares from you. Like that might be normal. It might not last for that long, even if you have like a little bit of a positive trend change on the monthly and the weekly. But yeah, anyway, that's just a quick thought.
Yeah, you just look back on the chart back in 2021 when volatility was trending down. It's a bottom, looks like in June of 2021, and starts trending up again into 2023.
Yeah,
and then
but the market still has a lot to choose from, like June 2021 to like all the way to November. I mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you take up a collection to buy Heidi a better mic? Love that comment right there. Yeah.
Yes, we can. Yeah, if you all give super stickers to Matt, he's gonna buy Heidi a mic.
Okay,
But
guys. I've also got another comment saying, "Can you please review Amazon?"
Do we have time?
Let's finish the show because I think it's been 2 hours, and I think we can do Amazon review definitely at a later date. But yeah, I mean, unless Matt, you want to go for like a couple minutes, but
no, I mean, I can do it on my live stream.
Yeah, Matt can do it later. Yeah, he's gonna do it later. Garcia, any final thoughts? He's pooping. Okay, never mind that.
Dude, you give us like 2 seconds to unmute our mics.
Just mute your mic when you flush the toilet.
Final thoughts? No, it was great hearing Danny explain, the new indicator, especially since we're gonna be seeing it more often. It's nice to kind of get like an introduction to it, and yeah, it was nice to, chatting it up with you guys, and yeah, I think that's about it for me.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Danny, any parting words?
So actually, I have seen lots of red candles during my weekly analysis, and all these red candles, I mean daily candles or weekly candles, appeared one by one. So actually, across all indexes, like IWM, TNA, QQQ, and SPY, so they all have red candles, even on their weekly charts. And also for the big seven, except Apple, the rest of them have daily red candles. So I was just wondering what these red candles tell us about the trend amid those market noises.
I can tell you.
Yeah.
It tells me that the economic sentiment leans towards being cautiously optimistic, especially with cuts around the horizon. That to me is exactly what all those red candles popping up are telling me.
So you're saying that we're going to climb up on a wall worry?
Yeah. Well, based on my chart, I think I'm still cautiously optimistic and bullish.
Where's that music, Matt? Can you play that? You said lots of red candles around. So
Matt, can you please play some high quality music?
Yeah, here we go for you guys.
Nice, Matt. Nice.
Red candle. While we hit this music, I'm gonna. Any other words, Danny, that you'd like to share with us?
No. So actually, cautiously optimistic. So I think there's nothing to worry.
I love this music. Let's keep going to Seth.
We just talk over the music.
This is a perfect music for you to end the show.
And the title is Love too. The background music is called Love.
With
I've got more to say.
Voice. Welcome to Cat Spaces, everybody. With our cool music right in the background.
Yeah, we need you to host it next time.
I love it.
Nice and smooth.
Okay. Yeah. Can we see how many people are tuning in right now?
3,800 on X, really.
Wow.
Yeah, 3,800 people are tuning in for.
So no pressure. No pressure. Jeff, every time you're on, the body count just triples.
I think Trekker can't wait to say some final words with this music on the background. So go ahead, Trekker.
It's absolutely true. I'm so sorry. But yeah, let's see. First off, I want to do an audible shout out to Jules. Jules L gave us our first YouTube super sticker. It's like a paid thing, and Matt thanked them in the chat. I also want, hey Matt, can you bring up the IWM?
The IWM. Yeah.
IWM. I just want to remind everyone that Kat and Matt and all of us are very bullish on what's going on with the IWM. That it looks like it might be ready to have a big breakout, and we'll have a new cycle starting up where small caps lead ahead of the large caps. And that's saying I also want to plug the fact that I'm going to start covering more small caps in my subscription service. And also this coming week, let's see, Thursday, September 19th, I'm going to be interviewing the CEO of Bullfrog AI, Vin Singh, live on X. And I'm going to try to see if I can get him to say that Bullfrog AI could be the next Palantir of medicine.
Ooh.
Wow.
I love it. I love how this is playing out so far. Turn the music down, bro.
Thank you for my shameless plug.
No, we need to hear it because yeah. Go ahead.
So Jess said something really
words?
interesting earlier. Yeah, Jess said something interesting about us being in the U.S. election when a president's rerunning for a second term. Historically, the markets do really well. So that was really important. I mean, and also just the bears sound really smart all the time. There's many years that I've been doing this. The bears sound smart and the bulls make money. I mean, and I think that 2022 was our big correction with the Feds increasing interest rates higher than they ever had in history, and the markets just took a huge dive. And I think 2025 is going to be I think it's going to be a really good year with the Feds cutting and everything.
And I want to add to that, like with the election night is going to create the futures to go crazy. If you guys remember, like 2016, Donald Trump, when he was winning, like they tanked the futures back down to like 600 points or something. Yeah. But then the next day it was green, right? So just ignore the futures on election night because it doesn't mean anything for the next day, because they're going to just manipulate that overnight, and then who knows what will happen the next day. So yeah, election night is going to be huge next in 2 months.
Jess, any other final words?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. That's all. The carry trade though was the fact that it got swallowed up as fast as it did. Just goes to show you what's going to go on in 2025. I think there was a huge amount of institutional buying during that, including I was just buying like crazy, and they're not doing that in a bear market.
Yeah, I think like the one person in the group that really does have reservation, I would like to hear from him, maybe next week, is A. He's being more cautious, so it'd be interesting bringing a different perspective next time. But I do want to say, if you guys enjoy this format better than the spaces, please do let us know. Or if you prefer, actually going back to the traditional spaces and just count your voice, we can do that too. But just comment, let us know what you like, and guess we'll take it from there. Jess, any other final words to this music?
Okay, so here it is. So if there's talk of recession, especially from analysts, just ignore it, because everything that I can see in the economic forecast just says soft landing or no landing scenario where the economy is going to avoid a recession at least. The Q4 seasonality backs that up. I'm really confident. I want to make money on Tesla and NVIDIA and Palantir, and that's what I see. I don't know about 25, but, I think it'll still be okay. There might be a deceleration of growth, but not a recession. That's my final words.
Awesome. We're going to let you have the final words.
Right. Well said, Jesse.
Guys, thank you so much for... What's that?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on, and let us know if you like this format better. We might do this next time if you prefer this over spaces. But anyway,
I love this format, by the way.
Everybody.